Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Curtis tells Willow about Drew's affair, betraying Nina. According to General Hospital spoilers, Curtis Ashford is likely to expose his longtime friend Nina Reeves' romance with Drew Kane to Willow Tate, so putting her under the bus. When Curtis was discussing taking Drew down in his affair with Nina over the week of July 14th to 18th, GH fans could see the thoughts racing through his head. By using blackmail against his wife, Portia Robinson, Drew has been straining Curtis to the breaking point. Unfortunately, Drew's influence over Portia has allowed him to coerce the couple into doing some very dubious things without their will, such as a recent hit article against Sonny Corinthos in Aurora Media. Drew now wants Portia to fabricate Michael Corinthos' medical records to suggest that he is addicted to opioids. In his characteristically ruthless congressman manner, Drew is prepared to go to any lengths to secure full-time custody of Wiley and Amelia Corinthos for himself and Willow. Although it is clear that Portia is opposed to the plan, what other option does she currently have? To safeguard Wiley and Amelia, she considered renouncing her medical license, but Curtis had a better idea. Drew and Willow will get ready to say I do this week, but as fans are well, weddings in Port Charles seldom go smoothly. There are a few scenes in the General Hospital preview for the week of July 21st to 25th that imply Curtis might click the button to tell Willow the truth, and it provides an intriguing glimpse into potentially explosive moments. Curtis promises to battle to save Portia, even if it means betraying a friend, in a clip from the promotional video that shows him and Portia in her medical office. The fact that Curtis is ready to put Nina under the bus in order to save Portia is big, since fans know that the two have a long history together and have stayed close despite many ups and downs over the years. Particularly since he is aware of the importance of Nina's relationship with Willow and the hardships she endured in order to find her daughter and form a true mother-daughter bond. When the truth is revealed and Willow removes Drew and Nina from her life, this will undoubtedly fall apart. However, Curtis had repeatedly encouraged Nina to come forward, and he may not care now because he is also concerned about his family disintegrating. Returning to the GH teaser, viewers will witness Curtis visit Willow's bridal suite before to the wedding, and Willow will be shown wearing a shocked expression as the commercial goes on. In the next days, Curtis will probably tell Willow about the Drew/Nina romance, which will hurt because he was chasing her the whole time he was with her mother. It's obvious that Drew will finally get a taste of his own medicine. Willow doesn't appear to be following Scout Quartermaine as she walks down the aisle in the promo's closing scene. This is definitely not encouraging given Willow's precarious mental state. Viewers will have to check in to find out what kind of consequences Nina will suffer after this secret is revealed, but General Hospital spoilers suggest that the week of July 21st to 25th may finally be the end of Drew and all of his lies, which sounds fantastic to most viewers. General Hospital spoilers, Drew's daughter reacts to the new stepmother in Willow's pre-wedding conversation with Scout. According to General Hospital previews, Willow Tate and Scout Kane will speak before the wedding, giving Drew Kane's daughter an opportunity to respond to her soon-to-be stepmother. Although Willow and Drew have undoubtedly updated Scout on the wedding off-screen, Willow will prefer to speak with Scout in greater detail before to the wedding day. Given Willow's strong commitment to Drew and their future together, it goes without saying that Scout will be a part of that future as well. Scout is now the sole child in Willow's life, but she hopes to reunite with Wiley and Amelia Corinthos eventually. Before the ceremony, Willow might try to gauge Scout's feelings and discuss how much it means to her. Naturally, Scout and Willow have been seen to bond in the past, so maintaining that friendship might not be too difficult. Nevertheless, marriage is a big step and will formally make Willow a stepmother, so it can be a sensitive subject. Willow might swear that she would never attempt to replace her biological mother because Scout has undoubtedly struggled with the loss of Sam McCall. In any event, Willow will have some significant things to say and will allow Scout to express her emotions honestly. Scout may effectively give Willow her approval to wed Drew after this wedding conversation. The wedding won't proceed as planned, despite Scout's possible excitement. If Willow and Scout don't end up getting married, their sincere conversation may have been a waste of time. In any case, Willow will speak with Scout one-on-one on July 24th. On July 25th, the wedding catastrophe will undoubtedly occur. Fans of GH won't want to miss any of the drama that is developing for Willow, Drew, and the other guests. Following the terrifying warning of Britt and Vaughn. Following the Brit Westbourne impersonator is Jason Morgan. Jocelyn Jax receives a frightening warning from Vaughn. In addition, Lucy Co sets off on a fresh quest for a skeptic named Brooklyn Quartermain. Concern of Dante Falconeri. Let's begin with Dante Falconeri, who was the person who observed Vaughn when he was under surveillance. Dante warns Anna Devane in their conversation. The investigator in the teaser video asks her whether she knows what she's getting herself into. Vaughn's terrifying warning. Jocelyn receives a terrifying warning from Vaughn. The rookie WSB agent doesn't agree with what the handler says. Jocelyn's hatred of Sonny Corinthos stems from her lifelong obsession with rules. Jocelyn joined the WSB in part to assist in eliminating Sonny and others like him. The other is that Jack Brennan's guys essentially set her up and blackmailed her. What you're telling me is Brennan can do whatever he wants and get away with it? Jocelyn asks Vaughn, and everyone who knows her knows that in her mind, that makes Brennan and Sonny the same person. Jocelyn also doesn't appear frightened or nervous. Especially if she is worried about her mother, she may be embarking on a new, unofficial quest. There will be some romance between Brennan and Carly Spencer. With champagne in her hand, the blonde inquires as to what caused Brennan to surprise her. They are hinted at talking about their future. But Carly might be approaching danger once more. According to today's General Hospital spoilers, Lucy reassures an anxious Brooklyn about something. Lucy responds, "Don't worry, I have it handled." Jason attempts to board the plane that the Brit impersonator boarded while BLQ bites her lip. Sonny's right-hand man makes a desperate attempt to convey that he needs to go to that passenger immediately. I'm not sure, though, if they'll let Jason on. Given that this is a soap opera, Jason is probably turned away or boarded and the woman departs. Stay closely because Jason might become even more determined to track down this individual and obtain answers as a result. Goodbye isn't always an exit. The sun briefly appeared over Port Charles's eastern rim, bathing the peaceful streets in a golden haze. From the outside, the Quartermain estate appeared to be a secure haven, sophisticated, classic, and impervious to the storms that were always building inside. But for Sasha Gilmore Corbin, the impending task felt like a 100-pound boulder pressing down on her chest. With her little fingers curled around the edge of a knit blanket, she watched Daisy sleep. Her daughter appeared calm, oblivious to the fear that was encircling her mother's thoughts like a noose. It was too late for Sasha. They had already made up their minds. She was heading out. Plans made in silence. It had begun in private, initially in her mind. The desire to run. Because of everything else, not because of Michael or the Quartermains. The Charlie's fire. Her every step was now accompanied by the murmurs of peril. She had gone from being cautious to being afraid after the 4th of July kidnapping. Additionally, terror had a humorous way of stifling reason. It was only anxiety, she had told herself, a combination of Liam's unresolved sadness and the stress of parenting Daisy in a place where there were firebombs, mob reprisals, and custody battles. This wasn't paranoia, though. This was an instinct for survival. Michael's version of safe Michael had stated that he would not allow her to leave by herself. He packed his resolve into a suitcase and promised he was coming too, with Amelia and Wiley in tow, as soon as she made any suggestion of leaving town with Daisy. He had the appropriate kind of heart. His reasoning wasn't sound. This meant something to Sasha. Dragging Wiley out of class. Ripping Amelia away from her usual surroundings. Forcing Willow to acknowledge that her children would no longer be with her once she lost custody. This wasn't anything Michael had considered. Not all of it. Sasha, however, had. A silent request in the Quartermain kitchen. She waited until she heard Michael taking Wiley to camp, and then she heard the front door close. She then grabbed her phone. They had already dialed in the name. Nina. Nina wasn't the most apparent person she could have turned to in Port Charles. Their relationship had always hovered between careful civility and watchful tolerance. Sasha, however, wasn't seeking permission today. She wanted to see results. Nina came at the conservatory in the middle of the morning, looking sharp as ever, perfume drifting in front of her like a proclamation. Nina, who was seated across from her at the glass table with the orchids, remarked, "You sounded tense." Sasha inhaled deeply. "I need your assistance." Nina inclined her head in curiosity, but not the type that comes with whispered threats or press releases. Then what kind? I need you to let Willow know. Regarding Michael's intentions. Regarding the relocation. In reference to Daisy. Nina blinked. Why don't you tell her? Sasha's fingers held onto the table's edge. Because she will perceive it as manipulation if I do, that I'm attempting to win her pity. However, if she hears it from you. Nina took a while to respond. You believe I'm influential? At last, she inquired. I believe you're attempting to mend your relationship with her. On the surface, Nina agreed that this may be helpful. The cost of a favor. However, her thoughts had already gone 2 steps too far. Would Willow consider this an olive branch? An opportunity to dispel the myth that she was a villain? Maybe. However, everything would burn if things didn't work out and Willow found out about her and Drew. Nevertheless, Nina had never turned down a chance. Not when redemption was abundant. Willow discovers the truth later that day. Willow was confronted by Nina in the lounge of the Metro Court. She wasn't prepared for the summons or Nina's gentle greeting. Nina started, I know you probably don't want to see me. Willow crossed her arms and murmured, You're right. Nina let out a breath. This will then happen quickly. I wanted to let you know that Michael is going out of town. With the children. Willow was silent for a while with Sasha and Daisy. Then, and you simply believe that I should be informed, Nina said softly, I felt a mother deserved to know. Willow's breathing became labored. With trembling hands, she turned and left without saying anything. Willow arrived at the mansion quickly after a fire was started. The bell was not rung by her. She entered as if she were still welcome. She came into the parlor when Sasha was rocking Daisy. You simply intended to depart? Willow posed a direct question. Sasha got up slowly. Willow, no farewell? No justification? Simply take my children and go? Sasha moved to the front. Your children are secure. Cherished. You are aware of that. You don't get to decide what's best for my children, Willow raged, adding that this was never about punishing you. Sasha retorted, and neither do you. You lost that right in court. Sasha was not prepared for the slap. Jason's intervention after Sasha and Willow's altercation sent shockwaves through the house. Michael called Jason to come to Carly's that evening. Michael said, She's not feeling well. I'm not referring to instability. Cornered, that is. Additionally, Jason said, she burns things down when Willow is cornered. They sat silently together. Michael went on, she won't stop. Jason groaned and said, not until she feels like she's won. What are you expecting me to do? Observe her. Speak to her. Carly's warning later that evening. Carly cornered Sasha in the kitchen and reminded her of her former self. It was a mistake for you to involve Nina in this, she replied icily. I was attempting to keep Daisy safe. And you believe Nina is the solution? Sasha remained silent. Carly moved in closer. After this, do you think Michael will trust you? You snubbed Nina on Willow, right? I did not sick anyone, you provided her with fuel. And now she's going to burn down the last bridge you have left. Willow's new approach. Willow called her lawyer the following morning. She wasn't ready to have complete custody once more. However, she desired limitations. Clauses. A temporary order prohibiting Michael and the kids from leaving the state. She advised the attorney to use the Nina angle if you have to. Anything will do. I want my children to be here. In Port Charles. She spoke without trembling. Never before had it been so cold. Michael's heart breaks when the court email came. Michael wasn't shocked. He was too familiar with Willow's manner. Sasha's face when he told her was much more painful. She appeared to have failed. He said, I told you she wouldn't let us go. Sasha retorted, she won't stop until she tears us apart. Then we don't let her. But we already did. Nina's silent remorse. Nina stood in her office, gazing at her image in the mirror. She ought to have anticipated it. She had hoped her participation would be beneficial. Rather, it ignited a fuse underneath a keg of powder. She had not been thanked by Willow. She hadn't heard from Michael. And Drew had become quiet, aloof, and irate. Every time I try to fix something, I break something else, she moaned. The final decision. Sasha packed quietly at the Quartermain mansion. She didn't talk to Michael too much. She just placed a letter on the dresser, kissed Daisy, and muttered, "You deserve peace." She had left by the time Michael got back from court. She had not yet left town. She had, however, departed the house. The mayhem. The responsibility. The letter. Michael's fingers were shaking as he opened the note. "I cherish you. However, this is no longer love. Fear is the cause. And rage. As well as survival. Even if the conflict is peaceful, legal, or emotional, I will not raise our daughter in a conflict zone. I'll be close. But I need oxygen until this storm passes." In the final scene, Jason saw from afar as Willow entered the park where Wiley played, her eyes unblinking and focused on him. He turned to face Carly, who was standing next to him. "She's not finished," he whispered. "No," Carly replied. "She's just getting started." Carly and Lucas face off in Dante and Lulu's horror. According to General Hospital spoilers for the week of July 21st to 25th, Michael Corinthos will confess while Dante Falconeri and Lulu Spencer will experience some terror. Here's what spectators should expect from the fight between Carly Spencer and Lucas Jones. Jason Morgan will attempt to negotiate his way onto Britt Westbourne's plane at the Paris airport in order to determine whether or not it is actually Britt. Jason would like to talk to that woman, but since he doesn't have a ticket for that plane, he might not be able to. Jason will, however, exhibit some tenacity, so he may board another plane to Croatia in the hopes of finding Britt there. Laura Collins will receive updates on some concerning news in the interim, which may relate to Lucas' worries regarding Marco Rios' kidnapping. Regarding Jens Sidwell, he will proceed with a significant statement. Will Sidwell take a chance or try his hardest to win Marco's release and please Sonny Corinthos? She will delve deeply into anything with Trina Robinson. Kai Taylor has made an effort to mend their damaged relationship, but Trina might not be open to it. Dante and Lulu may learn that Rocco Falconeri met with Liesl Albrecht and intends to see her again soon because they will discover something unsettling elsewhere. Willow Tate will act in ways that are concerning as she gets ready for her wedding. Drew Kane will not budge when Nina Reeves corners him and may even pressure him to postpone the wedding. Before the wedding ceremony, Willow and Scout Kane have a lovely conversation, but Alexis Davis and Drew will have a very direct talk. According to GH spoilers, Drew and Willow's wedding will begin, but will it be finished? This appears to be Willow's best chance to learn that Drew had an affair with Nina behind her back, either through Curtis Ashford's covert leak or Nina's confession made during the wedding. Michael will confide in Christina Corinthos Davis while Carly and Lucas argue over all the Sonny drama. Michael might use that as an opportunity to admit how much he already misses Sasha Gilmore Corbin and Daisy Gilmore. After that, Ava Jerome will feel unstable, therefore there may be an opportunity for Cody Bell to save her. Cody might advance Christina's goal, but since he now sees another side of Ava, the lines are beginning to blur. Keep an eye out for some nasty dilemmas during the week of July 21st to 25th, according to General Hospital spoilers. In The Ghost in Her Blood, Rocco Falconeri sat by alone in the dusty attic of the Falconeri house, going through yellowed letters and mementos that belonged to a father whose eyes were usually a bit too preoccupied and a mother who hadn't awoke in years. Apart from a lovely swirl of old, fine calligraphy, the envelope had no markings. It had no return address, but he knew exactly who had sent it, and his name was emblazoned across the front. Albrecht, Liesl. The name sounded like static in his head. He didn't actually know her. Growing up, she wasn't a part of his everyday existence. When he injured his arm last year, she wasn't at the hospital. He had given school recitals, but she had never gone. Nevertheless, she was somehow linked to him as well as to something more profound and hidden. Britt Westbourne was the reason behind everything. A sent and received message. It had begun innocently enough. An electronic mail. Half lost, half furious. Brooklyn's incapacity to keep her mouth shut had led him to realize that his mother, Lulu, had not brought him into the world. That his very beginning, his embryo, had been taken. The lady who gave birth to him was not his mother, rather, she was someone who ought never to have been in such proximity to his biological parents. Britt. Rocco now sought clarification. He had therefore written to the last person who could provide them. Liesl. Arrival without announcement. Liesl Albrecht made his quiet return to Port Charles without any publicity or press release. Only the town car driver who picked her up from the private terminal at the airport and the manager of the hotel suite she paid for with cash knew she had returned. She wasn't here to make amends. The boy who reached out was the one she had come for. Her daughter's DNA was inherited by the boy. Britt once claimed that the act of treachery that produced the boy was done for love, but even Liesl had never accepted that. Now, though, perhaps she had to. Perhaps she needed to regain her faith. First contact, she spent hours waiting outside his school, wearing a scarlet scarf and black eyeglasses to watch him. She had forgotten how tall he was. Possessed his mom's chin. The frown of his father. But something about his posture, the rigidity in his back, and the way he looked around the room as if he didn't trust anyone stood out. Britt was that person. That was just Britt. Rocco didn't say anything when he finally saw her. He simply froze in the middle of the sidewalk and halted. She said, "I received your email." He blinked. "What kept you from responding sooner?" "I wasn't sure if I should." Two ghosts in one conversation. Liesl was drinking her black coffee like it was holy while they sat at a corner booth at a quiet cafe by the park. Rocco left his cocoa alone. "You're curious about the truth," she finally said. He gave a nod. Liesl started, "She carried you because someone took something that wasn't theirs. My daughter, Britt, committed a mistake. A bad one. However, in her own way, she adored you." "She stole me," Rocco remarked bluntly. He chuckled coldly. "She believed she was stealing love. That isn't how that operates." "No," Liesl said quietly. A glimmer of suspicion. Rocco leaned forward, elbows resting on the table, and said, "But sometimes, you lie to yourself so hard, the truth loses its shape." "Was she sorry?" Liesl said. "She didn't want to die." "Not in that manner. She was aware of what was going to happen. The illness. The suffering. She didn't run, though. She remained. Instead, she saved someone else. And she passed away." Liesl's gaze wavered. Something crossed her face. Feeling sorry? Fear? Uncertainty? At last, Liesl remarked, "She died in every way that mattered." Rocco squinted at her and said, "But whether she lives somewhere else, in some other form, that is not something I can confirm." "That isn't a response." "I understand." Jason's doubt. In the meantime, Jason Morgan stood in the darkness of the basement garage of General Hospital, whispering to Danny. "You claim to have seen Liesl?" he inquired. Danny gave a nod. "In the park. Alongside Rocco." Jason's jaw tensed. "She shouldn't be here." "Do you think it's about Britt?" Jason remained silent. But his thoughts were racing. He hadn't stopped thinking about the sighting in July, the woman in the crowd who resembled Britt exactly, the one who only he had seen and no one else could verify. Was there a strategy in place if Liesl had returned and was speaking with Rocco? Dante was furious to learn that Olivia, who had received a voicemail on her grandson's phone, had told him instead of Rocco. She said to her son, "She's back." Dante's face lost its color as he said, "And she's talking to your kid." He remarked, getting up from the dinner table so quickly that his chair toppled over, "She doesn't get to do that." "Perhaps it's good," Olivia dared to say. "She is a cunning person. She has no interest in Rocco. She is self-conscious." Confrontation at the park. Liesl wasn't by herself when she next encountered Rocco. Dante went after it. Like a shadow wearing a badge, he emerged from behind the hedge. "This is over," he declared. Rocco appeared stunned. "She is the only one who is telling me the truth. I asked her to come, she has no right to be here." "She's telling you her version of the truth," Dante said. Liesl smoothed her coat and stood. "Detective Falconeri, I will honor your request to file for a restraining order. I want you to leave. That is no longer your decision. He is not a child." Dante snarled, "He is my child." Rocco was in the way. "I must discover my identity. In this place, where there are only secrets and stillness, I can't do that." Laura's warning. When Laura Collins received the call later that night, she was sitting in her office looking over paperwork. Liesl desired a meeting. She didn't explain why. She didn't have to. It was significant and sourly ironic that they met beneath the willow tree close to the old Cassadine estate ruins. "You're going to destroy him," Laura said. Liesl said, "I might save him." "How?" "By following Britt's spirit through his early years, he craves truth without guilt, which his parents are unable to provide." Laura waited, "And Liesl acknowledged, I need something to live for." The secret under the surface. That evening, Liesl reached into her purse and took out a tattered photograph. She kept it in her hand for a while. She then sealed it, slipped it into a plain envelope, and wrote Rocco on the front. The unexpected turn of events. The following day, Brooke Lynn discovered Rocco sitting by himself on the docks. "Are you all right?" she inquired. I believe she lied once more. "How about that?" He handed over the picture and added, "She gave me this. The photo was taken recently. Not elderly. Not acted out. A woman wearing a dark sweatshirt. A hat over blonde hair. In front of her was a cafe menu." "That is Britt." Brooke Lynn inhaled deeply. "That's Britt, for sure." "Then she's alive," Rocco said. Brooke Lynn remained silent. Her words were not as loud as her silence. At midnight, Liesl boarded the train in the final moments. No farewell. No final say. She simply walked out. However, she glanced down at the text from an unidentified number before the doors closed. "He knows," it said. "The picture is with him." Now what? Until the train thundered ahead, she gazed at the letter. Then responded by typing just the word "run." Next chapter ahead. That evening, Rocco stood by the fire pit with his picture in hand, his thoughts racing more quickly than his heartbeat. He had no idea where Britt had gone. He was unaware of Liesl's true strategy. He was aware of one thing, though. There had been a liar. And he would discover who it was. Regardless of the expense. General Hospital spoilers, amazing scenes, motivational phrases, and a dramatic wedding. Updates and teasers for the week of July 21st on General Hospital. Hint to amazing sights, words of encouragement, and a wedding full of turmoil. Isaiah Gannon offers words of encouragement to someone, Jason Morgan witnesses an incredible scene at the Paris airport, and Willow Tate has a dramatic wedding. Amazing sceneries, food for thought. While back in Port Charles, Dante Falconeri provides Anna Devane with food for thought. Jason witnesses an incredible sight in the Paris airport. When Jason sees Britt Westbourne's doppelganger, he feels sentimental, and Dante asks Anna if Jocelyn Jacks is aware of the situation she's in. Meanwhile, at the Metro Court pool, Carly Spencer and Jack Brennan talk about their future. Jocelyn, who doesn't believe Brennan can do everything he wants and get away with it, receives a harsh warning from Vaughn at the WSB office. A surprise awaits Brooke Lynn courting Chase somewhere. On Tuesday, July 22nd, Isaiah offers reassuring words to a tense Portia Robinson at the hospital in Suspicious Minds. Since Marco Rios is still unaccounted for, Lucas Jones reveals his suspicions in the interim. Jens Sidwell, Marco's father, makes an announcement elsewhere. Laura Collins receives some unsettling information. Might it have anything to do with Marco's absence or Jen's announcement? In other news, Tracy Quartermain has some updates from Martin Gray. Determination, revelations, and alarm. Wednesday, July 23rd. Jason is still adamant this is likely related to the Brit impersonator. Would he have followed her back to Port Charles or to Belgium? Dante and Lulu Spencer are worried in the interim. Could they see Rocco Falconeri with Liesl Albrecht? Nina Reeves is searching for Drew Kane in another location. In addition, Portia had an epiphany following Isaiah's words of encouragement. Once more, Willow's actions are concerning. Reunions and heartfelt conversations on Thursday, July 24th, Elizabeth Baldwin and Liesl will likely meet up in the hospital for their reunion. In another scene, Willow and Emily Scout Kane have a heart-to-heart conversation. Nina is eager to carry out her and her Aunt Liesl's plan to separate Willow and Drew in the interim. Regarding Drew, Alexis Davis speaks candidly with the dishonest and ruthless lawmaker. Trina Robinson also maintains her position despite splitting from Kai Taylor. Drama-filled wedding, brother and sister conflict Friday, July 25th. Will Liesl oppose to Willow and Drew's dramatic wedding? Carly's support of Sonny Corinthos is likely the reason behind the ongoing argument between Carly and Lucas. Michael Corinthos confides in Christina Corinthos Davis in the interim. Ava Jerome is shaken by something. What might it be? Lucy Coe extends an invitation elsewhere. Recasting Nicholas Cassadine. Fans of General Hospital are highly speculating that Nicholas Cassadine may return to the canvas. Or at least that's what they hope to see, since many of the show's viewers think it's about time Nicholas returned to Port Charles. General Hospital specs, Nicholas Cassadine getting recast. In addition, they believe that another male alpha to compete with Sonny or Drew would be the ideal dramatic plot point that the serial opera sorely needs at the moment. But many people are left wondering if the General Hospital producers really did replace the character with someone else. After all, the one and only Tyler Christopher cannot be replaced. Of course, there was a lot to say about the issue on the internet. I agree, but it is a very hard part to recast, some people even said in their comments. None of the recasts, in my opinion, have come close to Tyler. They need to find someone special, another show fan commented, but it's not impossible. Adam Huss resembled a tearful Aaron Rodgers with a 5 o'clock shadow. I'd rather have someone more serious. Whether they hire that guy full-time, I don't care whether Nick returns. General Hospital specs, will Nicholas return to Port Charles? There was also the following comment: to be honest, the Cassadines were more popular than the AARP mobster crew, so I doubt they're coming back until a new TPTB. Why is Dylan gone? I like Ned, but he's boring. Dylan was messy and complicated, that's soap. The more people claimed to have fast-forwarded Carly and Sonny, the more they trashed and exited Rogers, Poof, and Cassadine's characters. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.